Isekai.
The Rebirth of the Malicious Empress of Military Lineage. Chapter 28, Bengong has returned. One was able to see a middle-aged male walking over. He did not seat with those officials and youths, and sat far away at the special seats for distinguished guests. This man was around 40 years old, looking dark and hideous, wearing pine rosin color robes. His clothes were luxurious but unfortunate he only had a leg. This was the blood brother of the emperor, Prince Yu of the first rank. Prince Yu was the brother of the emperor with the same mother. When he was young, he saved the emperor's life from the hands of the assassins, and thus his left leg was injured, and had to be amputated, becoming a cripple. From that incident onward Prince Yu's temperament changed, and he became brutal, vicious, and had a perverse personality. He had a house full of concubines. The imperial family knew it all even though no one outside knew of anything. This Prince Yu had a filthy hobby of playing with countless women till they die. Yu Wangfei had passed away 7 years ago, which itself was strong. But, since the emperor and the empress dowager protected Prince Yu, Yu Wangfei's family can only swallow their grievances. Recently there was sudden news from Prince Yu residence that Prince Yu had the intention to bring Wangfei in. For some time, everyone in the Ding capital was endlessly speculating. Prince Yu's status was very high, and he also had the favor of the emperor and empress dowager. Thus his Wangfei had to be of equal status. The noble and high-ranking families that loved their daughters would naturally not let their daughters enter the wolf's den. Those who see their daughters as bargaining chips would then be anxious to exchange their daughters for prestige and wealth, even at the expense of their life. Looking at the previous Yu Wangfei's family, although they had lost a daughter, the emperor took care of them, and didn't they become a lot more prosperous? Shen Miao's gaze passed Prince Yu, and landed on Ren Wanyun at the banquet area designated for females. Sure enough, she saw Ren Wanyun's face brighten, and said to Yi Furen, "His Majesty indeed treat Prince Yu well." They were all people who fight in the courtyard, so Yi Furen immediately thought of Ren Wanyun's intention. Even though she found that Ren Wanyun's action was despicable, but her master and Shen Gui were in the same fraction, so naturally, she had to side and help Ren Wanyun. She smiled and said, "That's true. Even though he is much older but is someone that will dote others." Chen Rikayu lowered her head at the side, and slowly ate some snacks, but the smile on her lips was somewhat odd. Dote others? Believe that no one will be willing to see their daughter marry a crippled widower even if he was to dote on them or had a huge amount of power. It was as good as pushing one's daughter into the fire pits. As she thought about it, she turned her head and looked at Shen Miao. Shen Miao was held the chess pieces patiently, and placed them on the chessboards as if she did not pay any attention to anyone. Suddenly Chen Rikayu felt bottomless in her heart. After Shen Miao woke up after falling into the water, she was like another person. Like Shinzin's blood was awakened in her. The entire Shinzin family had a fierce and violent personality. And if Shen Miao knows about Ren Wanyun's plan, would she obediently accept it? Just as she was thinking, she saw Shen Miao seemingly came to be aware of her gaze. Thus, she raises her head to look at her. That pair of eyes were filled with a cold that enticed Chen Rikayu's heart, even though it was only the 10th lunar month. Shen Miao lowered her head, and looked at the chess in her hands. In the last lifetime, she made a fool of herself during the chrysanthemum banquet, but Ren Wanyun mentioned Prince Yu's marriage to old Shen Taitai upon the return to the residence. Ren Wanyun said, not saying that Little Five's actions today had no good aspects at all, and she had lost Shen family's reputation. Which noble family would be willing to marry a young lady like Little Five? Now that there is a good marriage of Prince Yu, if Little Five marries over, she would be a Wang Fei, and have the favor from His Majesty, and Empress Dowager, and can be considered as fortunate. Even though his legs are not good, and his age is somewhat more matured, but, our Little Five do not have any exceptional abilities, and thus it would not be a loss for Little Five. They made it high-sounding, but it was very vicious. It was later on when she spends a lot of money to bribe a wrong Jing Tang's maid could she then know these remarks. Old Shen Furen hated the first household in her heart because Shenzhen was born from the Yuan Pei. When old Master Shen was alive, he deeply favored Shenzhen, which made old Shen Furen, the second wife, jealous. It was so difficult for her to endure till the death of old Master Shen, but Shenzhen's military power was untouchable. Since Shenzhen was untouchable, Shen Miao was targeted, and as to target a female, there was nothing more painful than letting her marry into hardship. Old Shen Furen and Ren Wanyun hit it off, and immediately sent someone over to Prince Yu's residence to bring the matter up. Shen Miao was afraid, and angry. At that time she was in love with Fu Ziyu Yi, and haste. That very night she packed up, and then went over to Prince Ting's residence, and begged him to shelter her. She did not care about her reputation when others deliberately spread the matter out, as she thought that since her reputation was already destroyed, it would be too late to change anything, and thus better to marry Prince Ting as a concubine than to Prince Yu's residence. At that time old Shen Furen was furious at the turn of events. Even though Fu Ziyu Yi was angry in his heart, he did not treat her badly on the surface. Perhaps, he saw the value of Shen's family army. Even though he did not treat Shen Miao warmly, he did not refute her. Upon Shenzhen's return at the end of the year, what welcomed him was the news of his daughter in the capital jumping into the residence of others. He was shocked and angry, but Shen Miao did not hesitate to protest with a hunger strike, so Shenzhen ran out of ideas, and could only use all his military accomplishments to finally exchange the title of Ding Wang Fei for her. But no one had thought that that was the beginning of a real nightmare. Shen Miao closed her eyes. The mistakes that were made in her previous life had all traced back to today, and today was destined to be a turning point in her life. Those people who owed her must now start to pay their debts. Hey, why play by yourself? Suddenly a voice rang by her ear. It was unknown. When Feng Anning walked over, and even though there was some awkward expression, she sat across her. Why not play a game with me? Do you know how to play chess? Feng Anning looks down at the chessboard. She only intended to casually talk, but when she looks down, some interest of hers was sparked. After carefully looking for a while, she was unable to see anything out of it, and asked, "What kind of tactic is this? I have not seen it before. This is not a game of chess." Shen Miao smiled. "This is fighting a war." "What? Now it cannot be seen." Shen Miao said plainly, "Only when the pieces are swallowed then it can be seen for this kind of chess. Just like a nest, that is woven firmly, and tightly so that no one can escape." Feng Anning shuddered. "What are you talking about?" "It is strange, and horrifying." She looks over at the male side of the banquet, and suddenly her eyes brighten, and gave Shen Miao a look of encouragement. "Look there. His Highness Prince Ting has arrived." At the banquet section for men, Prince Ting, Fu Ziyu Yi, was wearing a loose gold and blue robe with green jaded books, and looked splendid. He was born handsome, and coupled with his solemn bearing but, yet cordial actions, he did not have the temperament of an overbearing prince. Throughout his way, He was able to attract the cries of surprise from the female side of the banquet. Shinmia lowered her head as her fingers dug deep into her palm as she clenched her fists. 10 years of accompaniment and wholehearted support were only exchanged, with a piece of long white silk, and extermination of an entire clan, and even her son and daughter lost their lives. The kinder this person looks on the outside, the more vicious his heart was. How just he look on the outside, was how cruel he was on the inside. In the last life, this man grants her an intact corpse. In this lifetime, she wants this person to die without an intact corpse. Fu Ziyu Yi, Bin Gong has returned.